Well guys, with the FPS market and Battlefield once again disappointing players, I'm super excited to announce I've been given an exclusive look at a game that's aiming to bring some fresh ideas to the all-out war tactical shooter genre. A title that's been built off the tactical bones of some of my favorite games like Insurgency, but blown up to include vehicle warfare, 100-player matches, and a 256 square kilometer map with objectives 2 kilometers in size. It's not a battle royale, it's not an extraction shooter, nor an Arma clone, but instead a large-scale military shooter that combines the essentials of tactical mechanics with a gameplay loop that aims to change how players think about all-out warfare. And it's being built by a studio with less than 100 employees on LinkedIn, and is, by their own admission, looking to create the next big shooter as they aim to be the change they want to see in the industry. And best of all, starting today, they'll be reaching out to creators like myself, no strings attached. So I'm free to say whatever I want and give you guys my unbiased thoughts as a lifelong player of games like Battlefield, Insurgency, Ghost Recon, and so on. But before we go any further, I'll cut the chatter and give you guys an exclusive first look at Wardogs.
There is a house in New Orleans they call the Ryzen sun, and it's been a ruin of many a poor boy. In God, I know I'm born. Tell your children not to do what I have done.
Now. Another one. Oh, get out! Let's go! Sick. Try and hit them in front. Go down, go down, go down!
In the house of the rising sun. In the house of the rising sun.
Now, aside from the excellent song choice, the reveal touches on a lot of the game's core mechanics and concepts. Right off the bat, like I said, this is being touted as an all-out war tactical shooter that focuses on scale, tactics, and destruction, and seems to be aimed at fans of Battlefield and other large-scale military shooters, who are seeking a more hardcore, tactical all-out war experience, with the devs making sure to include plenty of RPG, vehicle, and defibs action. However, defibs and vehicles aside, Wardogs is something totally different, with gameplay that appears more akin to traditional tactical shooters. It's a massive game of King of the Hill where 3 individual teams converge on a massive 256 square kilometer map to fight for control of a randomized 2-kilometer strip of that environment. The more players inside the capture zone, the more points you can earn until the winning team hits 100. A seemingly pretty straightforward concept, however, with an interesting twist that alludes to the game's sandbox being the real endgame, as players must earn cash via in-game actions like objectives to then purchase loadouts, gear, and vehicles within the match, essentially creating an incentive structure where players need to earn their favorite weapons and tactics with cash that remains match to match, as the devs say they don't just encourage team play, but instead actively reward it. In fact, here's the game's official statement from the devs. Every player starts their journey with $10,000. Each life, you can purchase a custom loadout from a wide selection of weapons, gear, utility, and vehicles to help your team win the match. Every team play action you perform rewards cash, with cash persisting from match to match, from reviving squad mates, transporting friendlies to the zone, or controlling the objective. So essentially, in my eyes, Wardogs is pulling inspiration from extraction shooters' loot systems and then building that into a tighter loop of action and reward that can then be used to not just affect the tides of battle, but be used to shape the map, as Wardogs aims to include destruction and totally player-driven action all the way from aerial warfare down to proxy chat, all of which looks like an incredibly fun concept. An all-out war, massive open-world battle that puts a huge focus on your customization, gameplay choices, and tactics sounds like an incredibly refreshing concept when compared to the shallow messiness we're currently getting with most AAA shooters. I used to play Insurgency every night for that tactical one-hit, one-kill thrill as my squad rolled corners and harassed enemies with proxy chat. And Wardogs looks to be offering that same satisfaction with even bigger stakes from an open-minded and young studio. Although I would like to just preface some concerns the devs can hopefully answer. First of which, I just want to make sure Wardogs showcases this concept in a way that's approachable to new players, especially fans of more casual games like Battlefield. A 256 square kilometer map, milsim-esque vehicle combat, and now an economy around your own weapons might be a big ask for most casual or even core FPS players this day and age. And I don't want to see an interesting idea fail because players aren't given the resources to understand how it works. Next, the balance of this game's weapons and economy will be paramount, and something they need to nail down day one. If players find an exploit early on and stack huge amounts of cash the first week, it could screw the game for a while to come. And finally, while I do find the concept of buying your loadout interesting, I'm worried players won't feel a sense of ownership or identity to their loadouts. Perhaps some purchases are permanent or loadouts are saved. There has to be some consistent sense of player identity, and I'm worried Wardogs will seek gimmick over substance with its sandbox, never allowing players to bond with their weapons or instead feel an intense concern that they'll lose all their hard work and beloved loadout when they die. But today's just the initial reveal, so I guess time will tell. All in all, as a huge fan of Insurgency, I'm hyped to have another interesting tactical shooter for me and my friends to enjoy, so I have high hopes for this title. Proxy chat, crisp weapon models, and tactical gunplay alone are all things that are gonna get me excited for Wardogs, but I hope they can stick the landing with meaningful player identity, an easy-to-understand economy, and crisp, well-optimized gameplay. So thanks to Bulkhead Studios for letting me get to see the game early, and for everyone else, drop those comments below. And for everything else Wardogs, drop a like and hit subscribe, and as always, thank you guys for watching.
Way down in New Orleans. Oh, mother, tell your children not to do what I have done.
Now. Another one.
Let's go!
That was sick. Go and hit them in front. Go down, go down, go down!
In the house of the rising sun.